Blessed day to you all. Welcome to another segment of Trends and Truth. Before I start today's segment, let me start by saying thank you to every one of you who've been joining us regularly, who've been sharing our program and been supporting us in various ways. Thank you for your continuous support, your prayers, and your love. So today with me is possibly one of the greatest teachers that we have at Bethany. This pastor is known for his teaching skills, the way he interprets, the way he talks and explains things like no one else. However, I was very interested to know about his life story and how he came to where he is today. So let me warmly welcome Pastor Nalaka to the segment today. Hi, Pastor.
Thank you very much for inviting.
Pastor, we'd love to learn about your story, your journey, and how you got to where you are today, specifically about being a pastor and how this journey has been for you. So before starting all of it, I'd like to know what life was like before you got to know that you were called to be a pastor.
Yes, thank you, Manju, once again. I've been watching Trends and Truths, and I have to say it's a wonderful program, enlightening us on issues that we never thought was there before, and also giving us truths from the Bible to navigate through life's journey. So, speaking about myself and coming to your question, we were in a different religious background when I was born. But I have two sisters. The youngest, when she was born, she had a skin disease all over her body. So my parents took her to all the physicians and professors and all. Everybody said, till she is 5 years old, this skin disease cannot be treated, cannot be cured. So it just had to be contained. So there's a special cream that you had to rub. And it was so bad that there would be rashes, small boils that would come and burst, and it will be very painful. So time went on like that. My mother's brother, especially his wife, knew the Lord, and she invited my mother to go to one of the services that they had when we visited there. So my mother went for this service, and she heard the word, and faith came into her. And the doctor specifically said, don't bathe her in seawater. You can't apply soap. There were so many conditions. But through faith, my mother took her to the beach, had a bath, rubbed soap, and within 2 weeks, the whole rash disappeared. So that is where my mother started to believe in God. She was a born-again Christian, and she came into faith. But my father still did not believe. He was in a different background. But my father had a problem where there was a problem in his bowels, where whatever he would consume, 5 minutes he has to use the washroom. So this was a recurring problem for many years. And my mother went on a church camp, and what my mother forgot to do was to give my father the key for the house. So my father didn't have a way to go into the house, so he had to come to the camp just to take the key. So while he came to the camp, the evening session was going on, and the pastor was preaching, and there were many words of knowledge. So unable to interrupt my mother in the middle of a service, my father had to sit at the back and wait for the service to finish. So while he was seated, the pastor gave a word of knowledge and said, there's a person like this here, where you have a problem in your bowels and you have to go to the washroom, and describe the exact scenario that my father was facing. So when he heard this, something led him to come forward and to be prayed for. And from that moment onwards, he was completely healed. And through that miracle, it stopped a long drinking problem that my father had. He kept a full stop to it. And that is where, as a family, we came to know the Lord. And we were very small at that time, but we grew up knowing the Lord, studying the Bible. We used to know all the stories in the Bible at a very young age. And my parents, if they were not in house, they were always in church, doing something, serving the Lord. So that was the background that we had, and we were accustomed to serving the Lord. But there was nobody in full-time ministry in our generation at that time. My mother's elder sister later on came to serve the Lord, and it was a very difficult life for her and her family. So as a result of that, there was this conviction, or I could say mindset, that full-time working is very difficult, because we used to visit our mother's sister at church and all, and it was not very attractive at that time. So it was not a very I wanted to be an accountant, at that time. Now, of course, accountant is a very thing that everybody does, but those days it was a very distinguished position. And so my target was that, to do my studies well, graduate in accounting, and be accountant. And that is what my best laid plans were, and that's what I was targeting, and that's the expectation my family also had. But we were very devout worshippers, believe in God, serving in the church, and just doing many things. So that was the life before I came into full-time ministry.
Wow, just listening to the testimonies that you just shared, what an amazing God we serve, and how wonderfully He has pre-planned your life and your family's life. Very clearly, it's very evident that His hand has been upon your family for a very long time. However, Pastor, I'm sure the transition, especially when you're talking about you choosing to be an accountant and wanting to pursue that line of work, and then here you were in a moment where God would have changed your plans completely. How did that happen?
Yes, actually, that's very interesting. After I did my A levels, as you know, there's a period where you're free, So at that time, I remember with Pastor Moses in our church, I used to go visiting, doing cell groups, and do various other things. I did a course in the mornings, but in the evenings, I would go and serve. We were leaders in the youth ministry at that time. I'm speaking about 13 years ago. So, and we were very much involved. But I never saw myself coming into full-time ministry or being a pastor or doing what I'm doing right now. Like I said earlier, it was a different kind of a path that I have chosen for myself. But in 2003, we went on a youth camp. It was held at Kabul, Lanka. A lot of Bethany outreachers came to this camp. And the last session of the camp was done by Pastor Roy Isaac, one of the prominent preachers in the world, in Sri Lanka at the moment. And he was doing the last session. And at the end of his preaching, he was praying over the young people and giving words of knowledge and everything. And we were also in front receiving prayer. And while he was praying for me, he gave me this word of knowledge, and he said, God has chosen you for full-time ministry. He has chosen you to serve Him. So don't search for secular jobs. But remember that God has called you for full-time ministry and devote your life for that. So that was the first time that I was confronted with this idea about serving the Lord full-time and becoming a pastor and being a minister of the Lord. And at a very young age, that also I think not even 20 at that time. So it was a crossroad, a junction, a decision that I have to make. And just after receiving that prophecy and coming back to my room, I remember one of my cousins spoke to me, and he said, whatever you do, pray, we are here to help you, back you. And there was that encouragement also. But there is always this battle, what am I going to do? Because I have a plan for my life, I have a goal, and now this. So I was not really 100% sure whether to accept this word of knowledge or not. Being so young at that time, I thought, okay, let's keep it on the shelf and see how things goes. Because I have seen what I have to do, what full-time work really means, and I have seen all the struggles. And it was not like this 13 years ago. It was a challenge and a struggle, So I was asking the question, am I willing to go through this? Am I willing to do this? So much of questions. So that is the first time that I received this word, and it was in my heart. I did not even share Pastor Dishan, who was my senior pastor at that time. I did not share with Pastor Dishan as well. It was just in my heart. 4 years, I kept silent with this word of knowledge. For 4 years, it was incubating. It was not put into decision, action, or anything. Just thinking, pondering, and it was like kept on the shelf at the moment. During these 4 years, I did merchandising. My father wanted me to do merchandising, so my path somewhat changed, and I was working in a factory doing merchandising, and the scope was very high, a good salary at that time. And I remember 4 years after this incident happened, I preached in one of our English Sinhala services we had at that time. I was preaching in English. I think Pastor Moses was translating. And after, Pastor Dishan was not in the country at that time. So next Sunday, when Pastor Dishan had already come, after the service, he called me to his office, and he sat me down and said, because for these 4 years, there was no vacancy for full-time ministry. So even though I received the word of knowledge, there was no opportunity to enter into full-time ministry. So this particular evening, pastor asked me to sit, and he explained and said, "We are thinking of you as one of the full-time ministries that we want to recruit to come and serve with us. But I want you to think and pray and give us a decision." He gave me 3 months. He spoke in October, and he said, "You can take 3 months. There has to be a transition. So you pray and tell me what the Lord is telling you and how you are going to make the decision." So I remember these 3 months I was praying and asking and so many things, and I did not share with my parents for the first 2 months, but because I was working in a company, I must give 1 month notice. So at the end of November, I think I told my parents, and then I gave resignation in the beginning of December. At that time, merchandising and in the company, we were the upcoming young breed at that time. So everybody was looking at us and everything. So everybody was surprised when you give a resignation letter, seeing such a scope. And I remember, because my father was very close to the MD, managing director of the company, he personally called me into the office and he asked, "What are you going to do? Why are you doing this?" And I remember just before I gave the resignation letter, the HR called me, and I went to the HR, and they had decided to increase my salary by 10,000 rupees. Now, 13 years ago, about 22 or 23 years I think I was old, 10,000 rupees was a huge amount. Now of course it might not be that, but 13, 14 years ago, it was a huge amount. So before writing the resignation and giving it, this was the news I got. But I thank and praise God, looking back right now, that I had the courage, and somehow I found the grace through the Lord, through God, to make the decision and say, "Yes, I'm going to resign, and this is my decision."
Wow, Pastor, that's an incredible story, and I think transition wouldn't have been easy at all, right? I mean, going from a work life, now here you are committing to a full time. I think clearly 4 years was needed, and maybe some of us who are watching today are also going through a period like this in their life. We know that the Lord has placed a certain calling upon our lives, yet we don't know whether it's the right time, and we don't know whether we want to step out, or whether the prophecy that we receive is really from the Lord, or if God hasn't spoken to us about it before, or something like that in your story. If there is a viewer today who's going through a similar confusion, what is your advice to them, Pastor?
Yes, first of all, I must say, now if I received this word of knowledge from our senior pastor, it would have been much more easier, because he's the head of the house, the leader that the Lord has appointed, and if the Lord is speaking through him, then it has to be accurate 80% of the time. But this word of knowledge did not come from our senior pastor, it came from a different pastor. So I think there are many who are receiving words of knowledge from pastors or leaders who are not their direct leader. What happens is, I think that is where you must be very patient, so that the leader that the Lord has appointed over you also confirms that word of knowledge before you enter or make any decision. Because whoever, it might be a one-time occasion, or a person who knows you frequently might give you a word of knowledge, but if they are not the direct leader over you, and the direct leader over you is not confirming, I'm saying pause, be patient, and wait for the right time. Because always you must understand that leadership, the Lord works in a method, in a very orderly fashion. So when God chooses to speak to you, most probably he chooses the leader that is over you. The confirmation has to come from that leader. So whatever the Lord has given, maybe an impression or a word of knowledge from somewhere, make sure that the leader above you also seconds it. So that is why the 4-year period is like a wilderness period. You do not know what to do. You do not know whether you must move forward with your career or wait for the confirmation. When you're waiting for 4 years, it seems like it will never come, So that is the place I think you must rely upon what God has spoken to you, the foundations that you have, and be very patient. I have seen many people, as soon as they receive a word from the Lord, word of knowledge, next minute they want to give up everything that they have and come into ministry. I think you are not prepared to make such a quick shift. If the Lord is telling so and your leader is confirming, then go for it. But if not, I'm recommended, have patience, take stock, plan your life, and ask the Lord. Know 100% in your heart and in your spirit that this is the Lord This is what the Lord is asking from you. Because the journey as a full-time worker or a pastor is always going to be challenging. It's always going to be, it's not going to be what you dream of. It's always going to change every now and then, every year and then. So if you want to hold on and to walk this journey and to finish this journey, you have to absolutely be sure in your spirit that this is what the Lord wants me to do. Because if there is any doubt, once troubles or persecutions or challenges come one after the other, you will feed that doubt, and that doubt will be more powerful than the truth that the Lord has spoken to you. That is when you will succumb in this area. So I want to encourage, don't be hasty, have patience, but most importantly, make sure that your leader is confirming what you feel in your spirit.
That truly is an incredible revelation, Pastor. I think many of us fall short in understanding this and how there is a leader placed above us for a reason, and we need to wait for the right timing in God to lead us to where He's called us to go. Pastor, I'm sure being a full-time worker is not an easy task. There must be quite a bit of challenges. And I know apart from doing full-time ministry, also run a little bit of business on the side. So you're a father, and you have to play the role of a husband. There's so many responsibilities on your shoulder. What is a day in Nalika's life like?
Yes, first of all, I think according to the scripture also, it says anybody who desires to have a position or to serve the Lord or have a key position in the kingdom of God first have to be able to handle himself and his family. That is one of the key things. So without being a proper manager of your time, your life, your resources, and also becoming a key person who will help your family, manage your family and move your family forward, it is useless serving the Lord without that. So I think number one, I think a key relationship with the Lord, that is number one in my life. I try to study the Bible. I try to maintain a genuine, constant relationship with the Lord, and I strive every day to receive a word from the Lord as to what I should do that day, what is the primary thing. And also, like you said, I'm a father. I think if there is one thing that I treasure the most in life, is being a father. You can tell I'm a bad pastor, it doesn't harm me. You can tell I am a horrible preacher, it won't amount much. But if you say I'm not a good father, I think that will sting a bit. So that is something that I take pride a lot. So spending time with my family, my wife, and also my son very particularly, take him to school, taking him from school, teaching him. Those are part of my life. And also balancing, when it comes to balancing ministry and the businesses that I do, small businesses on the side. First I realized that I am a priest before I become a businessman. So the priority is always in becoming a priest. So when you're becoming a priest, you have to put people first, which is a very difficult thing, a challenging thing, because people have different personalities and their question is more important than any other person's problem. So you have to deal with people in that sort of a manner. And also when you're doing business, you must know how to handle the business so that it won't be a problem or a burden to the ministry that you're doing. So that's a delicate balance, and that is where your personal discipline and management comes in. Your discipline helps you to walk with the Lord and maintain your character, and management helps you to work all the other things around this priority that you have placed in your life. So if you're a full-time worker and you're looking to do something extra and also balancing many roles, I encourage you, develop discipline and cultivate management. If so, you will be able to walk forward in life, because there are hard days in business, there are hard days in ministry. You are very tired, and the first thing that is affected is your walk with the Lord. You feel that you can catch up on another day, but discipline tells you no. You have to get up at 5 o'clock. You have to go through the study or the things that you have set for that day. You have to complete it. Discipline teaches you that, and then management helps you to decide on what you are going to do. And if you have those two, I'm sure you can be a very successful leader and also a businessman.
Thank you, Pastor Naraka. That was amazing insight for all of us. Before we close for the day, Pastor, if you could share anything with the person who's watching today who is perhaps in a stage of trying to decide how to fulfill the call God has placed upon them. So maybe God has revealed to them or given them hints of what the next step is, but yet they don't know how to get about to the next level. What is your advice to them?
Yeah. I think the key for that, Manju, is assurance. You can't walk in life if you're double-minded. If you are still unsure whether I should do this or not, you can't test things. So when it comes to the call of God, very specially, make sure that you know beyond any doubt, any shadow of doubt, that you know that this is what the Lord has called you to do. This is what the Lord has separated. This is your journey, and this is why you were born to this earth. If you know that, then I would say 75% of your battle is won. Now the problem is getting that assurance. Now, if you are a very new Christian, I recommend speak to your senior pastor, speak to your leader, and get some directions. But if you are a mature leader and you have got directions, I encourage you. The Lord, the Holy Spirit is in you and He speaks through you. So listen to that still small voice. Understand what He is saying, understand His purposes for your life, and then in faith grab a hold on to it. The Lord does not show everything at the beginning. It is always step by step, and by faith we have to respond. Without faith you cannot respond. So when you have got that assurance, respond by faith. When I was making the decision to come into full-time ministry, my parents were a bit hesitant because I was the eldest in the family, and that they had a different plan for me. But I thank God that they found the ability to say, yes, Putha, you do whatever you want, what the Lord is leading you. If you're sure, we are there to back you. I want to encourage parents also, if your son or your daughter is going to follow this, support them, help them, because that will be a great strength for them to follow what the Lord has appointed or separated for them. While you have made the decision, while you're moving towards what Lord has told you, you're walking towards that, always remember the Lord is there to back you up. The Lord is there to make you successful, take you to the next level. But also a percentage of things depend on you. You have to plan, you have to manage yourself, you have to be disciplined, and you have to work through life. When challenges come, you have to walk through challenges. You must be able to be strong and stand your ground and face whatever it comes when you're walking in the calling of God. And when you're doing that, God will do His part, but also you must do your part. So if you're looking forward to answer this call and walk with the Lord, I encourage you. First, assurance, then faith, then you need courage to stand up and face whatever you want. Don't be discouraged. People will misunderstand you. There might be rumors about you. People will say various things about you. As long as you have assurance and your faith and your leader knows what you are doing, make sure you inform your leader about everything in your life. Whether it be good, bad or ugly, inform him first. Don't let anybody else come and give him second-hand information before you. You be the person to give him the information, and under his guidance, if he's approving, then there is nothing to be afraid. God will back you and you will be a successful individual.
Thank you so much, Pastor. I truly believe today's segment has been enlightening and clear direction from the Lord on what we should do next when God has placed a call upon our life. I pray that today's segment will encourage you to serve the Lord and go beyond your limits. And let us glorify the Father with all that we do. Have a blessed and wonderful week. God bless you all.